Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
Well, heidi-ho, everybody. Nice to have you here. It's what is a glorious day the Lord has made, Wednesday. I like to say Wednesday. Sounds good, right? I used to make fun of the way you said the days of the week. I tend to over-enunciate, and everybody else kind of slurs their words like drunken sailors. And I say Wednesday. Wednesday, that's a proper pronunciation. Tuesday is another one that people have made fun of me for a clear pronunciation of Tuesday as opposed to Tuesday. It's not T-O-O, it's Tuesday. So anyway, just helping out with your pronunciation. Good morning, everybody. It is the, 13th day of August, year of our Lord, 2025, if I have it correctly. I have a question of the day that's coming up that's going to require some of you to confess a little bit of naughtiness, okay? So I want you to prepare your hearts for this. I've got a question of the day that's coming up that's going to have it's going to be one of those things that I did not know so many people acted in such a naughty way. So stand by. I'll lead up to that and get to that. We've got a couple of stories to tell about it. But prepare. You're going to want to watch the chat room's comments as they fly across the screen as people confess to this naughty behavior. It's coming up, my friends. It's coming up. Naughty behavior exposed right here through our question of the day. And you are going to confess to me what you've been doing. I'll tell you all about it. I set it up and what the naughty behavior is. And evidently, producer Chad even says that he engages in this very naughty behavior. I was shocked by that. I mean, I was shocked, but evidently he does. And a lot of people do. Yeah, I'll get to the story in a minute. Don't rush me. I got to get to the story. What else do I want to get to today? Got a couple of news stories we want to get to. Is the crime really the lowest it has been in Washington, D.C.? In 30 years. Donald Trump says he's going to make D.C. safe again. Donald Trump says he's going to federalize the Washington, D.C. Police Department for about 30 days. It's a 30-day sentence, basically, that they're going to get the streets cleaned up in Washington, D.C. And the Democrats, the media goes apoplectic, and they're going, oh, this is unprecedented. And yesterday, if you go back and watch yesterday's show, I actually laid it out that this is not unprecedented at all, especially a 30-day takeover by the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi. It's not unusual at all. I mentioned to you that from 2015, 14-15 up until last year, the Albuquerque, New Mexico Police Department was under the scrutiny and the supervision of the Department of Justice. So it's not unusual at all. Matter of fact, yesterday, I think I named 16 cities in the last year, 10 years, decade or so, in which the federal government has come in and federalized their police department for various and sundry accusations of bad behavior, bad reports, etc. So it's not unusual at all for the federales to step in and try to clean up a city or clean up a police department. So anyway, we debunked that. But here's a question for you. Is DC crime really? So at first they say this is unprecedented. We can't believe it. Donald Trump is weaponizing or he's holding hostage the DC Police Department, which actually I'm not sure the D.C. Police Department and a mayor's office and city council ever was intended to exist. The real city council of of Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, is really the Congress, and the president's actually the chief executive officer of it. And Muriel Bowser, is that her name? She's the mayor there. She's an idiot. She really is just a token, a figurehead is all she is, because there's real no... what Donald Trump wants, what the Congress wanted in D.C. is actually a big deal. So they get to decide, not Muriel Bowser. But the media went crazy at first, saying that this was unprecedented to take over a local police department. We dispelled that lie yesterday, and we dispatched it into the ash heap of history. Go back and watch yesterday's show, and you can find out all the cities that have been under at some time the rule of the government when they take over the police department. So it's not unusual at all. Well, there's a story now circulating that the Democrats, well, it may not be unusual, but you know what? The numbers are not, it's the lowest crime we've had in 30 years here. Well, D.C. police leaders are now being accused of manipulating data to make violent crime appear lower. Here's how it happens, according to the Washington Free Beacon. Washington, D.C., simple assault, a misdemeanor offense, is defined as an attempt or effort with force or violence to do injury to another person. The police department does not count it as a violent crime, even though you assaulted someone else. They change it to a less violent crime. Therefore, it's no longer a felony offense. They do the same thing. The designation is reserved for assault with a dangerous weapon. If you have a dangerous weapon, then they may count that as a felony offense. But if you're just punching somebody up, beating the crap out of them on the street, mugging them, whatever you do, it's going to be not a felony charge. It's going to be a nonviolent crime. The district recorded 1,026 incidents of assault in 2024, where assault with a dangerous weapon. Now, that's down 27% from the year 2024. So 2024, they reported 1,026. That's down 27% from the prior year. In 2025, they have recorded 534 such assaults, another 20% drop from the 668 the district recorded over the same period last year. There's one problem. The real numbers are actually higher. In July, just weeks before President Donald John Trump decided to announce his crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C., the city's police union, his name is Greg Pemberton, accused police lieutenants and captains of ordering lower-level members to take report for a lesser offense in an attempt to make the violent crime stats fall. One D.C. police commander, Michael Pulliam, is now under investigation for manipulating those stats, according to NBC television in Washington, D.C. It's far from the first time that accusations have come to Washington, D.C. leaders and the Metropolitan Police Department accused of rigging the numbers. There's another accused of rigging the numbers of violence as early as 2019 during the 2020 City Council meeting. 2 D.C. police officers blew the whistle on their superiors, accusing them of misreporting violent crimes as misdemeanors to make nation's capital appear safer on paper. This was back in 2020. In one August 2019 incident, they detailed a man slashed a woman's face and her neck with an unknown object outside a liquor store, sent her to the hospital, but the alleged crime fit the definition of felony assault with a dangerous weapon. But records obtained by WUSA Channel 9 in D.C. show the D.C. reports classified that attack as a simple assault, not an assault with a deadly weapon. Therefore, it does not count as a violent crime in Washington, D.C. So let me tell you, the media is complicit in their idiocy of propagandizing the talking points of the Democrat Party. At first, it was unprecedented, and then you just have to do some simple searches and realize it's not unprecedented for the Department of Justice to actually take over a police department. And this is only a 30-day takeover at this point. This is not a big one. As I said, we had Albuquerque, New Mexico was a better part of 10 years in which they were under the supervision of the federale. So it's not unusual. So then they come back in and say, well, the crime is down in 30 years. No, you're reporting it differently than you did 30 years ago. You're reporting it differently than you did in 2024 and 2023. And back in 2019, they started cooking the book. So listen, before your disingenuous Democrat politician is going to spout off at the mouth and froth from the mouth their rabid breath and their contagious vermin that comes out of their mouth, you might want to ask them, hey, do you know that Washington, D.C. has been cooking the books? Do you know Washington, D.C. crime is not really the lowest in 30 years? It's just being recorded differently now so that it makes Washington, D.C. look better on paper. There is a reason. There is a reason, my friends. I have to tell you, a very good reason, in which when Donald John Trump issued his decree that they were going to make D.C. safe again, that the police union came out and immediately said, we stand by the president. We need this. We need help. It's a dangerous cesspool of politicians and other types of criminals here. We need help. Thank you, Mr. President. The union, the police union, came out and said, yes, we stand by the president and we agree this is the right thing to do. Because this is the union that has been exposing and whistleblowing that their members of law enforcement in D.C. are forced by their superiors to misreport crime and mischarge crimes and just kind of pretend that things didn't happen because they want to make the bat crap crazy libtard Democrats that run that city make them look better. And so they're forcing their members to lie about what type of crime was committed. So watch what's happening in Washington, D.C., and just watch the apoplectic heads of liberals explode and it's kind of fun to watch. I mean, this last week, remember what were they apoplectic about? Gerrymandering in Texas. And then what happens? They stick their fat faces out there and they start kvetching and moaning about gerrymandering in Texas. And you even get a big old Jerry Pritzker goes on the Fallon show or one of the shows. He goes on one of the shows and they make fun of him and go, well, look, this map is pretty pathetic in your own state. You have the idiotic jackwagon, governor of Massachusetts. We're going to fight fire with fire, fight fire with fire. And then you look at your state. How are you going to fight fire with fire? You've already gerrymandered the heck out of Massachusetts. You have 40 to 45% of people that vote Republican in presidential elections in your state, and yet somehow you gerrymandered that entire congressional map to where you couldn't carve out one enclave of Republican representation. The entire state is represented by Democrats. You've already gerrymandered the whole thing. And so this hair on fire, oh my God, my hair is on fire. This hair on fire mentality by the Democrats is actually getting to be quite comical. Last week, it was the gerrymandering until they decided, oh, we can't be talking too much about gerrymandering because look what we've done to our states, Illinois, Massachusetts, California. They've gerrymandered the heck out of them. This week, they're all freaked out about they were freaked out last week about the Texas filibuster. Now it's about the police. And every day they come out with some new thing that you can just easily, with a little bit of research and intellectual prowess, which the Democrats do not have, you can debunk a lot of the crap that they're selling. The problem is they still have people in their party, they still have people in their cult that still believe them, even though every week it seems as if the Democrats come out, hair is on fire, the sky is falling, and then you come out and you put out the truth and they change talking points or they find another reason that their hair is on fire. Remember ICE? They were all about ICE and deportation. And then it was pretty easy to say, wait, are you on the side of the criminal or are you on the side? They really just kind of push back, and they're no longer as hateful about ICE because the polling numbers show that among Democrats, among their own, I think Gallup has this poll out, Democrats only approve of their own party and leadership 35% approval. Other than that, the Democrats have become a disgusting breed of people that have become so obsessed and literally on the verge of mental illness, and they're ICE screaming and trying to protest in the streets of Los Angeles. That got slapped down like it should have, and the polling numbers tanked for the libtards out there, and down the keister it goes. And so then their hair goes on fire about gerrymandering. And they go on and try to show their congressional maps and how Texas is bad. And then never mind, your map is worse than theirs, and you've already gerrymandered, and Texas is just catching up because conservatives have played nice all these years. And yet you got to remember, when you're playing poker with the devil, you can't be Mr. Nice Guy across the stage. You're going to have to get dirty with him, and that's what Texas is saying. Hey, listen, we're going to do some more. Greg Abbott said, because Gavin Newsom, did you see this? Gavin Newsom, governor of California, came out and said, we're going to redistrict gerrymander California. We're going to fight fire with fire. Greg Abbott said, go ahead. You don't have much more carving. You've already carved your depth. If you do that, Gavin, we have the power and the potential that we already have our eyes on 10 more congressional seats that we can turn red. We've got a lot more room for some gerrymandering because we've been asleep at the wheel trying to play nice with Democrats here, and we can gerrymander the heck out of the state of Texas. So go ahead, Gavin, try to get some more seats out there. You re-gerrymander, and I got 10 more on the table. And then Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, you hear what he did? He came out and said, hey, you know what? We're looking at our state now. If Gavin wants to start doing that and try to retaliate tit for tat, with Texas, we might need to do some redistricting here in California. We've had a lot of people moving from out of state. Our population counts aren't good. A lot of people had to flee California. A lot of people got the heck out of New York. We're more red than we ever were. Just watch the election results. And so, Gavin, you keep talking. And if if he can get 10 more, that'll be a total of 14 or 15. I can get 5 or 10 out of my state. So keep talking, Gavin. Keep talking. Gavin's been sniffing the Aquanet before he puts it on his hair. That's his problem. Anyway, the hair on fire mentality by the Democrats is absolutely fun to watch. It's interesting to watch. But the sad thing is the media still falls for it. It becomes a talking point, the news du jour. for the day, and then it just kind of falls apart right in front of their faces. The hair's on fire. The hair's on fire. Oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. It's really interesting to watch. But Washington, D.C., highest crime rate in 30 years, lowest crime rate in 30 years. Yeah, you know what? If I adjust my scales the right way, I weigh less than I did 30 years ago. But it doesn't make it true. I weigh a heck of a lot more than I should, and I weigh a heck of a lot more than I did 30 years ago. But if I want to do some false reporting, if I want to adjust the scales a little bit, punch a few buttons, wind a knob, or however you do it, I could weigh less than I did 30 years ago. And that is the story. I'll put the story out there, but it is going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out, because the DC panic is real, and they're all freaked out about all sorts of stuff there. It's fascinating to watch. The hair on fire. And here's the ultimate thing. Remember the old adage, the boy that cries wolf? The old boy who cried wolf, he was a special creature. He just wanted some attention. And yet the one day when the real hair on fire scenario, the real wolf came to attack, nobody would listen to him. And I'm wondering if most Americans, not the media, not the so-called journalists, because there are very few real journalists in America, I'm wondering if the propaganda agents known as NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, and the big networks, the big newspapers, I'm wondering if they're still on point. They're going to stay on point. But outside of them, I'm wondering if America is starting to realize, you know what, you've cried wolf. You said your hair's on fire. You said ice this. You said Russia. You said the Texas filibuster was so the Texas gerrymandering. It says filibuster machine. The gerrymandering was a big deal. It really wasn't, because other states have already done it. So you've said all these things all this time, and we're kind of tired of it. And I think the polling number continues to reflect that. That's why the Democrats keep having to change topics and keep changing what has them all apoplectic every day, every week. It's a different thing, because the brain damage that has been caused by their Trump derangement syndrome seems to be permanent and possibly even fatal for an entire party. All right, don't forget, Friday, September the 5th, less than a month away, is our charity golf event. We had a meeting about that last evening, and we want you to be there. Friday, September the 5th. Join us September the 5th. It's going to be a fantastic time. It's a party in which a little bit of golf gets played. I know there's people that show up at this golf course right around in the golf cart. Maybe someone in their team plays golf. I know people that never really get out of the golf cart, and they just sit there and walk around and do golf course things, but they don't play golf. And so you golf, and you don't have to have your tour card to play golf here. We'd love to have you. It's a fun event. It's a great event, and it is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And we were talking last night about how important this event is for our charity. This is the big one. We have two big public event fundraisers. Of course, we're always fundraising. Two big public event fundraisers every year. We just had our regenerated casino night and casino music night. So that was, you remember that, the Omni Hotel. Some of you were there. Thank you. And then this is the big one. This is the granddaddy of them all, of the fundraisers for us. This is our golf tournament, and it's a fun time. And listen, you don't have to be a great golfer. I've had people that even show up and they register. I don't know if we're offering one this year, a social pass. They'll just come and say, let me buy lunch. I want to just hang out with you guys. So people, a couple of years ago, I looked up and went to the clubhouse as I was riding around greeting our guests, and Laura Carno was there, sitting there. She had come all the way up from where she lives, somewhere close to Egypt and Kansas. It's way out there. Carno showed up, and she was there with not under escort, but as friends. She was there actually. With Sheriff Steve Reams of Weld County, and they were just sitting up at the clubhouse having a diet sodas or Sprites or Arnold Palmer's or something, and watching the golfers come in and out. So it's a fun time, and you never know who you'll run across, and I'd love for you to be there Friday, September 5th. You do need to get registered, and I got a few more sponsorship opportunities out there. You know what? We have an opportunity right here. If one of you want to become the big man on campus right now, we have an opportunity. Every year it kind of passes around who sponsors the beverage cart. we give away free tickets for the beverage card that circulates, and it's a party. That's why I say it's a party, and we give those away. And for years, Lehman Lewis Financial Group was the beverage card sponsor because they may be financial people in suits and things, but man, they like to have fun when they're off the clock. So they did the beverage card. And a couple of years ago, when I added comedians to the golf tournament, we call them the whole hecklers, and they roast you and they roast your neighbors, and they have a great fun, real live stand-up comics out of the hole, having a great time. Lehman Lewis Financial Group said, we're going to give up the beverage card, which was a big, big deal. We're going to give up the beverage card, and we're going to sponsor the comedians to come. So this year, every year now, the Lehman Lewis Financial Group sponsors the comedians. And then we had 1 year, Sherry Cree, realtor extraordinaire. She picked up the beverage card sponsorship. Another year, we've had a couple of different people rotate through and pick up that beverage card sponsorship. But let me tell you, you will be the most popular person or the most popular business, individual, whatever. We've had individuals covered. We've had the businesses covered. If you'd like to sponsor that, you will get all the recognition you aptly deserve. And we'll even remind people how great you are for sponsoring it when they sober up, okay? If you'd like to sponsor the beverage card, the information is at our website, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com works as well. Go to the event registration page, and you will see the beverage cart opportunity. And again, it's great promotion, but it's also, if you want to be the popular person, sponsor the booze. That's all I can tell you about that. Sponsor the booze. All right, everybody, happy Wednesday. Let's dive into, Arloa just popped in and said happy Wednesday as well. No, great minds think alike, Arloa. Today is your Friday just for this week. That is a great reminder, Arloa. Thank you. That's for co-producing the show, I guess. Producer Chad and I will be off the next 2 days. So there'll be no show tomorrow, and there will be no show Friday. I'm traveling today right after the show. Okay, hang on. Let's be for my clothing again. Is Jimmy sending up a secret distress signal by wearing a non-blue shirt? Is this an alien body snatcher, or did producer Chad dress him this morning? I can't win. You people obsess over I'm showing up here naked one day, shirtless. And if you stumble in your walk with the Lord, Stacey says maybe a green shirt. Are you playing a trick on us today? Or am I colorblind? This is a blue shirt. This is as blue as it gets. It's just different. You people are incorrigible. I don't know if that's the right use of the word. It's one of those fancy words that Laura Carno uses, and I never can use her fancy words properly. So you people are something. There's a word to describe all of you right now, making comment regarding my shirt. We have real news stories out here. Lies being told in D.C., libtards apoplectic over every hair on fire story, and you people are concerned about my shirt. It's mighty fine, isn't it? I'm telling you, I'm showing up here shirtless one day, and I'll say it again. If you stumble in your walk with the Lord on that day, it's your own fault. You've asked for it. You deserve that beauty that you're going to get if I show up here. Yeah, you are going to deserve it. Uh-huh. Yeah, you people be writing on the bathroom wall after you see what my hair look like without a shirt. It's a pretty thing. All right. I didn't know all this discussion was happening about my shirt. I'm sitting here pontificating, proliferating, and just overall making a lot of great sense about the apoplectic Democrats. And now their big thing is about Washington, D.C., the crime rate. And you people are talking about my shirt. Roger says, good morning from Washington, D.C., waiting for Shelley's to open in 90 minutes. I'll watch the crime from here with a nice cigar. By the way, if you ever go to Washington, D.C., it's worth it. I've thought, knowing that Roger was up there and other people recently I've talked to have been up in D.C. doing some business, and it just keeps coming up in conversation. We're going to Shelley's Back Room. Shelley's Back Room is a cigar lounge not far from the White House, just down the street, easy walk. You probably wouldn't even get raped or killed on most days on that walk, but it's possible. It's Washington, D.C. It's also just down the street from the Treasury Department. It's a fantastic place. You smoke a cigar. They have actually pretty good food there as well. And so you can be a proper gentleman. We used to be a proper society in which you could have a fine cigar and a steak at the same time in public. But we've given up our proper culture anymore, and we have become a culture where we have to have every menu has to have a kid's menu of chicken wings, and you can't have a cigar at the table Well, let me do what I want. But Shelley's Back Room is keeping America great right there, and I'm jealous that you're there. And now I'm thinking I'm about to enter a very busy season, football season, announcing football games, watching football games. I used to coach football, so all the things, this is very busy for me. But if I can find a couple of days to head up to D.C. just for the heck of it, Brother Jimmy's going to go to D.C., and I'm going to go to Shelley's Back Room. I can taste their wings now. Oh, dear Jesus, help us. I need to stop talking about Shelley's and stop talking about my shirt. We have issues facing America. You guys have hijacked the show already. You guys have hijacked. I'm not trying not to make you stumble. I see the comment on the stage. That's why I'm trying to wear blue shirts, low key, and here you people are making fun of my shirts all the time. All right, I got a question of the day for you. This is going to require some confession. I've given my little pontification about Democrats and apoplectic. This is not about Democratic behavior. Some of you are going to have to come clean here. You're going to have to be real honest. Yesterday, I was driving down the street, which you usually drive down the street. It's preferred than the sidewalk. So I'm driving, and I'm heading east, and I'm on a 2-lane road, and there's cars headed west. And there's a guy that I guess he lived out. It's kind of a rural road. It's called Arapahoe Road. I'll tell you where it's at. He was trying to cut across Arapahoe to get out this long dirt driveway. I think he lived on a farm or something up there. He was trying to get across the road. It's busy, so he's waiting for the oncoming eastbound traffic. And so all the cars westbound are backed up behind him. And people were gently going around on the shoulder and passing him while he waited to turn left. Well, about the time I cross him, I'm right even with him, and he's still trying to go left. A big yellow school bus is on the shoulder, kind of going around him as well. They're just trying to keep going. This guy's going to have a long wait to cross that street right there. And when I got right up close to him, he's looking out like he's looking at the school bus or looking at the other people. I don't know who he's looking at, but he's got his middle finger up in the air and he's giving him the bird. He's giving him that. And I said, dear goodness, you're a grown man. You're just trying to cross traffic. They're just going around you on the right-hand side of the shoulder. I don't know what happened in this guy's heart or head. That's a funny photo. I don't know what happened in his heart or head, but he's flipping people off that are going around him on the shoulder. And all afternoon, I was like, what kind of grown person flips people off still? I didn't know that was a big deal. I mean, I might have once in my life ever jokingly with someone, the old that kind of thing, or woo. But it just maybe rarely in my life, even as a kid, I can't remember that we would flip each other off. I just don't remember doing it. Flipping someone the bird was it was beneath my station in life, my friends, beneath my station. So I want to ask you, when the last time you flipped someone off? So I was going to leave that story alone, and it was just going to haunt me that some grown man driving westbound is flipping people off that are passing him on the shoulder because he's trying to go across a busy street. He was in the right. He was fine. He could do that. But I don't know why he was flipping him off, but he was a grown man. It wasn't like a kid. It's just a grown dude. And I was like, dude, this guy's got issues. So I read the story, and this brings our question of the day. When was the last time you flipped someone the bird? Scott already jumps in. He says, every day, that's my greeting to the UPS and the USPS guys. Be careful when you open those packages in the future, Scott. Be very, very careful. I'm trying to think in a moment of road rage or in a moment of, I don't think out of spite. I'm not saying I've never lifted my middle finger. I'm not going to sound that pious, but I honestly don't ever recall in my life flipping someone off in road rage or anger. Or, I've just never done that. I don't, it's not who I am. It's beneath my station. So I thought this guy's just crazy. Here's a story that I've read to you and I share with you. An Air France pilot recently made an emergency landing, had a medical emergency on board. He needed to land to save a woman's life. But on the way out the door, when she's heading off to the doctor or wherever she's going, they made an emergency landing. She flipped the pilot off. It's a true story. Not clear what kind of health issue she was having or where the flight originated, but the plane was over northern Canada, and it made a sharp turn to the right and headed straight for the airport in Newfoundland. And a passenger shared 2 clips of the pilot coming on the PA to explain the situation. First, he says they're making an emergency landing, and you can see paramedics waiting on the tarmac when they land. Then the plane takes off again, and the pilot comes back on the intercom to tell everybody what happened. He says it's on recording. We saved her life, but she was a bit angry when they took her off the plane, and she gave us the finger on her way out. Now, I don't know if she didn't like the doctor. I don't know if she hates Newfoundland. I don't know what the deal is, but evidently they saved her life and she flips him off, and it was unusual. Multiple people in the comments of the news story said they wish airlines would normalize pilot gossip on the PA. Another a person joked in the comments, the flight attendants are usually one to serve the tea. So it's a question I have for you. Maybe she was angry and she's going to have to find out how to get home from Newfoundland, I guess. I don't know. Does the airline pay for that? Why would she flip him off? Why would the guy in traffic? When was the last time you flipped the bird? Roger says, bird is daily. I'm exposed to society. Why I'm generally recluse when not forced upon society. I don't get it. Now I mentioned this topic in Question of the Day to producer Chad. And I said the only one that I know that can compete with Hunter Biden on the dropping of the F-bombs in an interview would be producer Chad. But Hunter Biden dropped so many F-bombs in that interview a couple of weeks ago that I think producer Chad might have been a little bit embarrassed. He felt, it's getting dirty around here. But that's tough. And so when I mentioned the story about this bird flipping this morning, producer Chad says, yeah, I do it all the time. Can you believe that? Such a fine role model, upstanding citizen in our culture, in our society, and producer Chad comes real clean and says he flips people off. Arloa says, I so don't want to sound pious. Anytime you and I have to start with that, Arloa, that means, hey, I'm going to sound pious, but deal with it. I understand, Arloa. I never, ever have in my entire life flipped off anyone. It's not my style. Arloa, it's not mine either. You and I are classy people. It seems as if, Arloa, we're hanging out with a bunch of derelicts. We're hanging out with a lot of dregs out there. Stacy says, I never remember. Let me read Ray's. I got cut off on my way to Portland, and this millennial flipped me off. So I guess that means so he returned the favor. Stacy's, Rich, I'll go in order here. Producer Chad's putting him up there. Usually among friends, after they've done a good joke at my expense, birds do occasionally fly. Alcohol can be involved, all in fun. Now, again, that's what I would say. If I've ever done that, if I've ever done that, it's probably been a good fun. I've never in anger. I never done that. I might have one time, hey, watch this, like you're blowing up anybody done that, the trumpet. But it was good fun. Stacy says, I never remember flipping someone off. I have yelled, but no flipping anyone off. Again, it's an anger response, I guess. I'm supposed to be fun and all in fun and games. And it's all fun and games until someone punches you for flipping them off. But I'm just curious. I didn't know this was a big deal among adults, but evidently you're getting emergency medical care and grown-ass adults decide that they're going to flip someone off, which is just bizarre to me. A guy trying to cross and make a left turn, flipping people off, going around him. I didn't know this was such a big deal, and I'm asking you, when was the last time you flipped someone off? I need all you to confess out there. I think there's producer Chad, I think we have more bird flippers in this audience than what we know. It seems like we got some real middle finger lovers out there. We got some real people out there doing that. I never have. I'm not going to say who because he sometimes watches the show. I had a car getting an oil change or in the garage, or for some reason I had to hop a ride with someone. It wasn't producer Chad. And this is a grown man. He's like a professional CEO type guy. And I'm in the car with him, and we're just driving down the block. I don't know. I was picking up a car. I don't remember why. It was several years ago. And it's the first time I'd ever, maybe we were going to dinner. I don't remember. I don't know where we're going. Anyway, the next thing I know, he thought a guy behind him was tailgating him. And so he's driving his fancy CEO type car, and he's holding up the middle. And I'm not even going to do it on the camera. He's holding up his middle finger so the guy can see it out the back window. That's what the guy's doing. And I was kind of shocked. I mean, I don't get offended easy, believe me. But I was like, my goodness, vapors. I felt a little dirty when I got out of the car. I really did. I never flipped anybody off in traffic. Anyway, to tell the story, Linda says, every time Jared Polis pops up on the TV. So, Linda, what you're having is a medical response. It really is. That's not anger. That's just a medical response. Your middle finger somehow medically responds as like a reflex. Jared Polis, the dumb governor of the state of Colorado, claims to be Jewish, but seems to really be backed by some anti-Semites out there in his party. It's just a little observation. So every time, Linda, and that's understandable, Linda, that's totally forgivable. I mean, I think, because a lot of people, that's just different, Linda, because a lot of folks in Colorado have the same kind of reflex when Jared Polis pops up on the TV. Usually it's a gag reflex. It's like, you kind of, the shivers, like, you kind of hold and get back. So, Linda, just count yourself blessed. The rest of us are throwing up a little bit in our mouths every time Polis pops up on the TV, and it's your middle finger. So, Linda, you get a proper excuse for your middle finger. It's just a medical reaction to a governor who's unfit to serve Colorado and unfit to serve America, if the truth be known. All right, there's your question of the day. And a lot of you tell me when's the last time you flipped someone off? Is anybody a regular flipper? It sounds like producer Chad may be a pretty regular flipper. Maybe. I did do this one time to a friend. I do remember this. I think this is a high school thing I did. I don't remember. Hey, read between the lines. I did that. I remember that. Well, I saw it on TV or something. I thought it was funny. And my friend said, that's dumb. And I remember that. I was like, read between the lines. Read between the lines. I did that. That's not really flipping anybody off. That's a 10th grade joke. Get off my back. Don't bother me. Obnoxious Scott says, is there really such thing as a Jewish Democrat? Well, I think again, I'm not here to judge. You stand before God on your own, and you give account for your own life. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like Jared Polis is that adherent to the Jewish faith. I wouldn't say he's a practicing Jew. I wouldn't say that. Just saying. I don't think his husband is either. I don't know. Roger says, I flipped off Bill Clinton in his motorcade after his inauguration in D.C. He looked right at me with a surprised expression. In 1993, maybe that wasn't as a common against a POTUS. So Roger flipped off the POTUS. I shook Bill Clinton's hand. No, I went down to he was there at a gun grabbing fundraising rally, and my buddy had tickets, and I was doing talk radio at the time, and I went down, and we were right up front, and he was going to work the rope line. And so I would shake the president's hand. I would do this. So I went up, shook the president's hand, and they're very soft hands, very, very soft. And I thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah. And so I shook his hand. My buddies waiting on the sidewalk. I said, I shook his hand. And oh my God, you're a traitor. They might have flipped me off for shaking his hand. I shook his hand. Now, it did haunt me later. I had to wash it because with Bill, I didn't know where the hand had been. And I think it might, I rethought it. It might not have been my better day, but I shook his hand. Very soft. Very soft. All right. Let's get back to the news, shall we? I think we shall. Thank you very much. What else do we want to talk about today? Oh, this Adam Schiff deal. Well, the Democrats are going apoplectic about gerrymandering in Texas and Washington, D.C. police stuff. There are some interesting stories that the mainstream media is probably not telling you, but it's a pretty darn big deal. Adam Schiff, it turns out, classified documents have been declassified by Kash Patel and the FBI, and they're showing that Schiff was literally working behind the scenes in a conspiratorial fashion to craft a narrative about Russia collusion that he knew was false. And he was the grand poobah from leaking information out there. Then we find out James Comey was also playing the media through back channels rather than go through when he's the FBI director, rather than go through the FBI press office to issue press releases. James Comey was personally with his ilk working the back streams of the media to try to get this Russia thing going on. Well, the story is starting to grow, and especially now that it's being investigated as a grand conspiracy, Adam Schiff is in the spotlight. So in California now, Adam Schiff is being investigated for mortgage fraud. Follow that story. That's an interesting thing. It seems as if he did some dastardly deeds and lied on some mortgage forms and committed some pretty heinous acts of fraud. That's going to be another one. But House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan from Ohio said Tuesday that he put former top Obama administration officials, Attorney General Merrick Garland and Senator Adam Schiff on notice that they now may have to testify about leaked intelligence related to the Russiagate. This is the leaked intelligence that went out, and you're never going to get caught. It's all going to be good. And Kash Patel says, no, we're going to release the documents and show the memos and show that Adam Schiff was behind this whole thing, and show the testimony of whistleblowers saying that, yeah, it's Adam Schiff. He was behind it. He was working on this thing. Jim Jordan said on Just the News, No Noise television show, he said, yeah, I would probably like to talk to the individual who did the 302 regarding asked when Garland and Schiff would testify. He said, I assume there's a 302 done. We just got this information. We're just now digging through. You say, now, Jimmy, what is a 302? A 302 is a report from the FBI agents that is used to summarize the witness interviews. So you'd have to read hour-long interviews. An intelligence officer who worked for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee for more than a decade is repeatedly warning the FBI beginning in 2017 that then Representative Adam Schiff, now a senator, approved leaking classified information to smear then-President Donald Trump over the now-debunked Russiagate scandal, according to an FBI memo reported on Just the News and the website, justthenews.com, which is John Solomon's site. So watch out. We have a potential here that Merrick Garland, the dirty scoundrel attorney general under Joe Biden, thank God, we hate Mitch McConnell all we want, but he's not on the Supreme Court because of Mitch McConnell. God bless you, Mitch, for that one. But here's another thing about Adam Schiff I want you to watch out for. I still call her Judge Janine, but Janine Shapiro, who is in the Trump administration, she's issuing a statement as of yesterday. And as an unidentified Democrat whistleblower told the FBI that Representative Adam Schiff, now Senator Adam Schiff, approved leaking of the classified information in order to smear Donald Trump, according to a newly declassified FBI 302 report. According to former U.S. Attorney Brett Tolman, the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., who is Janine Shapiro, Judge Janine, is the only one who can make a decision on a case like this. So it's all the evidence is going to Janine Pirro, and this investigation and these documents that Kash Patel and the Department of Justice are putting out there. And Janine Pirro herself told Benny Johnson on Tuesday that, quote, when she has enough evidence to move forward, we will hear from her loud and clear. Here's the quote. I'll just give you the whole setup. I don't have the audio. Benny says, Benny Johnson, I follow him on the Instagram. Adam Schiff today, there was a FBI 302 that now has been declassified by Kash Patel. It's gone to Congress, and it's been Adam Schiff leaking classified information. It's a whistleblower from his office. The documents are here in public. Brett Tolman is saying, if you listen, you're the only the U.S. Attorney for Washington can make a decision on a case like this. And so my question, Janine Shapiro, Pirro, not Shapiro, Pirro, Janine Pirro. My question is to open-ended. Have you reviewed the 302? Have you reviewed the leaked documents? Are you familiar with Adam Schiff and his criminal conspiracy to leak against President Trump? Do you plan on investigating this? Here, I will read it in Janine Pirro's voice. It's her words, my voice. You know what, Benny? I think you know that this is my wheelhouse. The difference between me and some other people is that I don't talk about what I'm investigating. I don't talk about what I'm doing. When I have the evidence, when I have enough to go forward, you will hear from me loud and clear. My friends, it looks like old Pencil Neck is up to his neck in poo-poo. Is what it looks like. The guy is stepping in it, and it's going to get really, really interesting. Watch this again. The Democrats trying to get your attention on gerrymandering Texas and taking over the DC Police Department, which we know is a fake climb. A fake story that this has never happened before. It happens all the time. The Department of Justice comes in to help out a police department, and this is only 30 days. So they lie the whole time. But the real story is that we've been thinking about Clapper and Brennan and Comey. Guess what? You better start paying attention to Adam Schiff, because it looks like, from an outsider looking in, and Janine Pirro says, I don't talk about what I'm investigating, but you'll hear from me loud and clear when we get all the evidence in front of us. It looks like Adam Schiff might be wanting to lawyer up if he hasn't already, which I would imagine he has. Now, here's another interesting story. You want to talk about God's providence and saving our butts here in America? Stories came out this week that had Hillary Rodham Clinton won the election, that she had intended to appoint Adam Schiff, the congressman at that time from California, as the director of the CIA. Isn't that crazy? You want to talk about thank you, God, for sparing us of Hillary Rodham Clinton? She actually, according to sources, had her list of people that she was going to appoint, and the head of the Intelligence Committee for the very partisan guy named Adam Schiff, who was running it in the Congress, and he was leaking documents that he wasn't supposed to leak. He could end up going to jail for that kind of thing. I'm not a prosecutor. I don't know. But that's who Hillary Rodham Clinton had wanted to appoint as the director of her CIA, is Adam Schiff. And you want to talk about escaping some bad stuff. We escaped some really bad stuff with that one. All right. Again, question of the day. I want to ask you again. When was the last time you flipped someone the bird? Jeff says the regular bird or the out the window shaking it bird. You'd be the judge of which bird you flipped, because that's true. There are different forms of board. There's just a casual flip you may give to your buddy. Here's my 10th grade joke, read between the lines. There's that one. And then there's out the window shaking it and cursing. When was the last time not you flipped it with your buddies at golf? They make a good shot or make fun of you and you give them a playful middle finger. I don't judge. That's fine. You do that. But I'm talking about anger. You have anger. You do that. So, yes. Oh, see, look at there. Hold up their first finger, middle, and ring finger and say, read between the lines. Marvina, I just said that. Marvina's paying attention. She must have joined the show. That's what I used to do as a kid, until my friend said that's kind of dumb. And it was. Yeah, you get that. But I'm talking about angry. This guy yesterday is angry. The woman going off the airplane was angry, flipping people off. All right, what else? Oh, I've got a fun story. Can we do a fun story here, Producer Chad? I'm going to do it anyway, whether you like it or not. You ready? I'm a big fan of adoption. I adopted my son. I tried to adopt many, many, many other kids, and the Lord blessed me with my son, and he has no brothers and sisters because I got blood. So he wasn't blessed with brothers and sisters, but I am a big fan of adoption. But this might be taking it a little bit too far. All right, here we go. Axios, Sin City tourism slump signals a wider economic slowdown. Evidently, tourism in Las Vegas has been really slow lately. Now, I was actually planning, I thought maybe this weekend, but I got to go a different direction. Just kind of a weekend, a couple of days in Las Vegas. I don't gamble, but I like Las Vegas. I think it's a very fine city. I have fun. I like being in the hustle and bustle, but I can go back to, I've actually thought, man, we're live on the strip. I like it. I don't gamble. If I ever put $20 on a slot machine, it's once every 5 years. I'm just not a gambler. I played roulette twice in my life. I'm not a gambler, but I enjoy Vegas. I like the cigars. I just like watching the entertainment. It's relaxing to me. So anyway, tourism is down roughly by 11%. And I was pricing it recently, and I'm like, you lower your prices, you might get some people. It's quite pricey. It's down 11% this year, according to visitor numbers and the convention attendance, hotel occupancy lower than as usual. And the story is that people are trying to survive a little bit, and with the lower crowds and people not going there as much. So there's opportunity, and you can look it up, that you can actually adopt an Elvis impersonator. Help the Elvis impersonator survive. You can pick an Elvis impersonator and adopt them and fund them. Maybe they'll send you a little video song, but there's a move afoot in Vegas to try to not just build tourism, but build survival there about adopting an Elvis impersonator. I want to look more into this and to see if I can. But I want to see what you get when you adopt them. I'll see what you get when you do that. Anybody looking forward to the Thrilla in Manila? Well, that's what they called it in boxing. I was trying to think of a way to say the Thrilla in Manila when it comes to the Alaskan summit that's coming up this coming Friday between Donald John Trump and Vladimir, I'm a communist, Putin. I want. Was there any word that rhymes with Alaska? I did spend some time thinking about this when I probably didn't have enough coffee. And since I don't have any guests today, I haven't had to sip my coffee. But I was trying to think of something to dub it the Thrilla in Manila or the Alaskan Summit. And I couldn't think of a word that rhymes with Alaska. If anybody can do that, I'll give you credit on the branding. I will. The Thrilla in Manila. Donald Trump is complaining that the media is covering it unfairly. He says they need to straighten up and be more fair about this. But the Thrilla in Manila. I was trying to name the summit. Maybe that gives some excitement to it, but I don't know. I don't have that. What else do I have here on these stories? Oh, President Trump did something else. It makes the media crazy. It makes the left crazy. He tweeted out, and he's announced, if you recall, he announced himself as the head person to oversee the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. The Kennedy Center have their honors. They have concerts, operas, plays, etc. And he's set to make an announcement today at the Kennedy Center where this year's honorees are being revealed. So the president's going to go. They're going to people who's going to get the Kennedy Center nominations for an award. And Trump is saying that he's going to go there and be part of that awards announcement. Now, Trump, it's interesting. This is, again, the term one Trump, term two Trump. Trump avoided the Kennedy Center honors during his first term after artists said they would not attend out of protest. But this year, Donald Trump has taken over the Kennedy Center's chairmanship and dismissed its entire board of trustees and appointed new members of his choosing. In a Truth Social post yesterday, Trump teased a name change. This will cause the media to go crazy. By saying he referred to it as the phrase. Here's the quote: "Great nominees for the Trump Kennedy Center. Oops, I mean Kennedy Center Awards." Trump wrote, he said he's working, was being done on the site, which would bring it back to the absolute top level of luxury, glamour, and entertainment. It has fallen on hard times physically, but will soon be making a major comeback. Now, I've never been to the Kennedy Center. I've seen it. I've driven by it. I've never gone to an event at it. Probably didn't get invited. I don't know. Is it a big deal? Trump, I think it is for the Washington, D.C., New York socialite thing, the Kennedy Center. But he's going to go there today and make an announcement, and we will find out what his announcement is. I don't know. It's unclear how this year's honorees have been chosen. They're going to announce those today. He indicated that he wanted a more active role. Historically, it's been a bipartisan advisory committee that selects the recipients, and now it looks like we don't know who's selecting, but Donald Trump's going to the Kennedy Center today, and it's going to be very interesting to see if he actually changes the name. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know how it's going to work out. The Kennedy Center has its own social media outside of Trump's social media, and they say coming soon, a country music icon, an Englishman, a New York City rock band, a dance queen, and a multi-billion-dollar actor walk in the Kennedy Center Opera House. So I don't know what's going on, but there's a big announcement. And I don't know if I've never been to the Kennedy Center, and I don't know if I used to be in the concert business, so I know how these things work, events, but never did. Anyway, just interesting. The Trump Kennedy Center, it has a ring to it. That could be a question of the day for another day, is if you could have something named after you, what would you want named after you? If you're going to get your name on a park, is it an elementary school? Is it a highway? In Colorado, I know we have a couple of Ronald Reagan highways. I think there's a JFK part of I-25, and there's a Dwight David Eisenhower highway on I-25 or I-70. There's an Eisenhower tunnel up in the mountains. If you were going to get something named after you, what would it be? And I think they should put him on Mount Rushmore and call it Mount Trumpmore. Just again, hair on fire moments for the Democrats. Let Donald Trump suggest that in his Truth Social tweet and say that they should call it Mount Trumpmore. That would be a very, very big deal. All right, a programming note, a couple of things I want to remind you of. Tomorrow, producer Chad and I were supposed to be playing in a wonderful charity golf tournament, but I have used this as an opportunity to go care for some family matters, family sickness, and go check on my mother. So I'm going to be flying out of town here in just a little bit of time after the show. I will be traveling, but I'll be traveling back again. And so anyway, Thursday and Friday this week, there will be no show. So if you tune in here in the morning, just come back and watch today's or watch the day before and enjoy that. Or go listen to the podcast of us and we'll get that. But no show tomorrow or tomorrow or Friday. And we will resume merrily here on Monday morning, good Lord willing. So again, no show this Thursday or Friday. That is tomorrow and Friday, as I will be traveling and producer Chad is going to be playing in a golf tournament. He got somebody to replace me in the golf tournament. I like golf, but I host a golf tournament. I don't play in golf tournaments. So I was going to play in this one, which meant I was probably going to I was going to look like a guy having batting practice. They're going to call strike, miss the ball. I take my eye off the ball sometimes and I miss it. I whiff it. Yeah, sometimes I flip myself off on a golf course, like, you idiot. But yeah, so I host a golf tournament. Friday, September 5th is our golf tournament. And if you're not going to be there, my friends, you really should go to church and ask yourself why. You should ask the Lord why you're not coming to the golf tournament. I'm just saying. Who wants to sponsor that beverage card and be popular? Delilah messaged me. She said, if I give her a pay raise, she'll sponsor the beverage card. You know what you're going to miss out Friday? And I told producer Chad I'm going to bring this back. Some of you are longtime listeners of my radio show. We had paycheck roulette, and I would every Friday give Delilah 2 envelopes and say, choose. One's a paycheck, one's a pink slip. And we called it Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday, right? Who remembers Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday? Did it every week, and Delilah seemed to stick around like a piece of poo on a shoe. You can't scrape her off. She just shows up here. So Delilah, I was going to resume Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday this week. I was going to resume that for you, but I'm going to be away, and so you get a reprieve on Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday. Jeff says we all need to buy stock in Whataburger. No, and I appreciate you should buy stock in Whataburger because I'll probably eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner there, as I usually do. I'll mix in some Tex-Mex. I mean, I'm not there that long. It's not like I'm going to eat the whole time. I'm trying to slim down, okay? I don't get to revise the stats like the Washington, D.C. police. I have to look at the real scales. What you should do rather than buy stock, buy enough stock that you can talk to the jackwagons that run Whataburger and ask them why all the Whataburgers are concentrated in Colorado Springs Party. Why you got to ask why are they all in Colorado Springs proper, which is about an hour and a half from me? Why are all the Whataburgers in Colorado in Colorado Springs? That's what I need somebody to give me answers about. Is Delilah a real person? Am I a real person? Why is Chad a real person? Is Aiden, one of the hipster youth, a real person? Listen, we built the Lakey Entertainment Towers one brick at a time, one concert at a time, and I have some people that still stick around from those days. Yep, I do, Jeff. Thank you very much for asking. It's like is this a real shirt? We had the question, is this a real shirt? Is it real blue? Is it fake blue? Does he have a screen? It's Delilah real. She's going to be real playing Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday real soon. Delilah going to get to play the game, Paycheck or Pink Slip Friday. For this Friday, you're here. You're off the hook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Don't forget, no show Thursday or Friday. It's time for you to remember this name and remember it very well. Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. Always glad to have her participation in the show. We're going to start getting her on a weekly segment to talk about the market, talk about real estate. But listen, why don't you have your own personal consultation with her and talk about your real estate dreams? I mean, some of you are ready to move now. Some of you know it's coming up. It may be next year, but there's really just more than putting a sign in the yard. Anybody's been through a sale, there's more that has to happen. It's usually more than what you imagined. And from the practical things of, hey, you really should declutter some of these closets. Let's get the basement right. Let's put a fresh coat of paint. And if you say, I can't do that, she's got people that will help you do it. She's got people that you can handle all that stuff, and she can work all that out. But there's also a strategy of, if you're going to buy or sell, when is the right time? What's going to happen with the markets, with the interest rates? Are they going to go up or down? When those rates get cut, I would guess the buyer's market is going to shift a little bit more to a seller's market. That's my opinion. Sherry can answer that question for us. But listen, real estate is a big deal, but it's also a big deal that it can leave generational wealth. And Sherry approaches all of her clients, which should be you, with that perspective of how do we use this as the right decision, the right place, right time, right pricing, everything right, and let that grow great for you so that one day that those real estate transactions can be something that create generational wealth for your kids and grandkids. And it's possible. You say, well, it's just a house. Well, yeah, it's just a house, but it's the biggest investment you're probably ever going to make in your life. So talk to Sherry, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her and have a consultation. Even if you're not ready for the sign of the yard, even if you're not ready to start going to the open houses and looking around, but you just want to talk about the timing that's best for you, because the timing that's best for you is so important. You got to do it when it's right for you. And she can kind of help you get ready for that moment. So homeswithsherry.com, Sherry Cree. If you're at our golf tournament, you will see her there, but homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. I just saw this on the monitor over here from Fox News, and I meant to get to this story yesterday. Did you know that this week, America Online, AOL, is discontinuing its dial-up internet service. Anybody remember that legendary number sound? Those of us who are Gen Xers, of the computer dialing up the, I can't do it. The noise of the internet going on, connecting with the modem on AOL, and sometimes that number's busy. And you have to have alternate numbers, and you got the CD in the mail from AOL. You put it on your computer, and suddenly you had internet. And you didn't really know what to do. There weren't really search engines. You just kind of didn't know what to do. There were actual chat rooms in AOL and news stories, but I think if all of us went back today and looked at the internet that we were looking at, let's say in 1995, 96 with AOL, it would be, wow, this was really boring. But at the time, it's cutting edge. AOL is discontinuing their dial-up internet service. So anybody out there that has AOL dial-up, and I didn't even know it was a thing, but I'm guessing somebody still has it. Anybody out there that still has AOL dial-up, would you let us know that you still have AOL dial-up? AOL, after all these years, 2025, 30 years since I probably first loaded an AOL disk on a laptop, or not a desktop, a big tower unit, one of those things. 30 years later, they're discontinuing the dial-up. So if you have dial-up internet by AOL, you need to prepare your hearts and do something else, because it's not going to be there. It's not going to be there anymore. I know it's sad for all of you. Anyway, somebody's got to use it. That's why they're having to tell people they're discontinuing it, because somebody's using dial-up internet. I can't believe it. All right, let's see if I'm missing any other story. I've got a marriage advice. I'll get to this Monday about things you can do with your spouse to improve your relationship, and I'm not talking that. No, we don't talk about those sensitive personal issues on this show. Gossiping. I've got the story. Research says that if you get with your spouse and you have a good gossip session, it can improve your relationship. Don't deny it. It's researched. I know you're not supposed to gossip. I know it's a sin, but you're saving marriages here, Delilah. Leave me alone. Anyway, gossiping with you. I'll get to the story Monday. I know that's the best tease I can give you about Monday's show. Off tomorrow, off Friday. Producer Chad not taking a 4-day weekend just for the heck of it. He's going to play in the charity golf event tomorrow. So wish producer Chad well, that he would hit those drives straight down the fairway and not get blackout drunk. And hopefully producer Chad, who again has already confessed that Hunter Biden and him use a lot of F words. Now producer Chad has mentioned that he does tend to flip people off. I think is that producer Chad, is that your childhood photo? That's producer Chad in kindergarten right there. He's got little plastic pant pull-ups right there, and he's flipping people off. It would only be better if the kid had a Marlboro hanging out of his mouth. How you doing? Yeah. All right. Don't be flipping people off today. I didn't know it was a thing, but evidently flipping people off. The good book says when I was a child, I spoke as a child, acted like a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. I always thought bird flipping was childish. I always did, never did. It was beneath my station in life, being from the aristocratic house of Lakeys. Yeah, that's not true. I was beneath my station. I just never was a flipper, a bird flipper. Never was. But evidently a lot of you are, and evidently it's still in vogue. So I learned something new yesterday and today, that people still flip people off, and it's not nice. You shouldn't do it. All right, Thursday and Friday we're off, so you better suck every bit of nectar out of the goodness of this meme roulette section, the stolen meme section of the show, where we lazily go around and just steal memes from people and put them on our show because we don't want to have to do the work ourselves. They've already done it. Why should we screw with it? Yeah, see, that's what we're thinking. Let's do it. So you like the nectar reference, didn't you? The nectar. That just comes to me sometimes. It's wisdom. It's inspired by the Holy Spirit. Yeah. All right. Suck all the nectar out of this. It's going to get good. Let's see. Shan says, AOL is still accessible, just not by dial-up. Yeah, that's true. AOL, there's still an AOL site and something like that. They've been bought up, but their dial-up service is going away. So if you're accessing your AOL, sorry, you're going to have to go a different way. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. How do you like this photo? There's 45 and 47. There's J.D. Vance, 48 and 49. There's Marco Rubio's ears. Marco Rubio, 50 and 51. And there's that's the defense secretary, Pete Hegseth. He's 52 and 53. America would be a better place if that was actually the lineup that we actually would get down the road. Not sure it's going to happen, but hey, one can think and dream, can't you? 47, 45, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. Woo! I kind of made a rap out of that. I'm telling you. Remember when I had the rap career? Anybody remember that? I was going to go on tour with my son, with my buddy D-Rake. You call him Drake. I call him D-Rake. I was going to go out as a hip hop artist, and I was going to be Hedge Fund, the name Hedge Fund, and my son was going to be Trust Fund. And that was going to, we're going to have a family rapping duo. And trying to go out on tour with D-Rake, and then I decided the illustrious high-paying job of talk radio was probably better bet for me. And so, but if you ever do hear that Hedge Fund and Trust Fund are performing somewhere, it may be me. Maybe me, out with D-Rake. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Anybody relate to this? It's been a part of my life here recently. Boomer parents, one day all this will be yours. And the Gen Xer kids are going, no. Yeah, it's a tough one. That's a tough one. Been there doing that. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Here you go. Here's how you liberal out there. If you need a class on how to do this, you're sleeping and the town's burning down. You're walking down the street. The homeless are crapping and doing drugs. Somebody's getting carjacked right by you. Look at there. There's nothing to see. It's just happy little libtard walking around. Then he checks his phone. He gets angry and he says, I can't believe Trump wants to clean up this city. Orange man bad. That's the apoplectic behavior you're watching about Washington, D.C. right now. It's not a green shirt. It's a blue shirt. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Democrats then versus now. This is from a great little Instagram page I follow. Here you see John F. Kennedy there says, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. John F. Kennedy. Democrats today, it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, possessed by Beelzebub himself. Free stuff. Yeah, Democrats then, Democrats now. They have fallen a long ways from the party that used to be. Yeah, now you got AOC and Jasmine. Difference between AOC and Jasmine. AOC says free stuff. Jasmine says effing free stuff for black people, but not white people. That's the difference. It's very similar, though. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. You know, this is kind of a sad one. I said this to Bruce. This is kind of sad. One day we said, this will be the last coin. One more quarter, one more play. And it actually was. Isn't that kind of sad? One day you put your bike and parked your bike in the garage that you rode as a kid for the last time. Here's what I thought of this one, and I don't mean to depress you here today. I remember the last time walking into a store, my son grabbed my hand to hold it. And he had kind of stopped, and we were heading like second, third grade. We're walking into a Target, and he grabbed my hand. I was like, and I took a deep breath. I'm like, remember this moment because it's probably not, and never did again. One day we said this would be the last coin, and it was. Now we're all reflective and melancholy going, oh, my God, that's so sad. Yeah, one day you had your last sleepover with your buddies, friends over. Your last girls have slumber parties. Boys have sleepovers. Now we're depressed. Something more happy now. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Whenever I hear a Milli Vanilli song, I don't sing it. I just move my lips. That's the way they would have wanted it. Milli Vanilli. You ever see these TikTok stars that just stand there and they lip sync songs and they get millions of followers and make a lot of money, and they're taking someone else's song and lip syncing it? Milli Vanilli were just before their time. They were like an Etzel. They were just before their time, lip syncing songs. They really were. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from, no one knows. It's John Wayne. Area is the Duke. I think we can agree now that switching from ass whoopings to timeouts was a piss poor idea. Yeah, that's true. Probably so. From ass whoopings to timeouts, probably a bad idea. I didn't know what a timeout was. Oh, no, I did never get a timeout. I got the ass whooping. Round. I was a good kid. I didn't get, well, yeah, my sister got most of them. Round and around the globe we go, where she knows that's true. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, stole that from South America. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the meme machine has been milked dry. which means all the illustrious nectar of goodness and comedy and fun and humor and illustrating absurdity is now done for this day. And sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed the nectar of goodness that was. We're going to let the meme machine props here rest here on the broadcast desk until Monday. Don't forget Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. Don't forget our charity. And usually, a lot of folks get paid on Fridays. If you're thinking about it and feel so tickled in your heart, if you will, would love to have you, not just at the golf tournament, but we're going to really be emphasizing child sponsorship at our golf tournament this year. And we love some more sponsors, but we would also love for you to just be a part of the tournament itself. But make a donation if you can. And again, I always say give to your local church. I do that. Give to the charities that you love. But, if Rivers Promise can make your list, we'd love it. And again, small gift, big gift, doesn't matter. It's taking care of changing kids' lives in Rwanda. RiversPromise.com, RiversPromise.org. You have homework the next couple of days. Stay in touch. I'll be posting a little bit on Facebook, Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. I tend to put up full news stories there, so links to news stories. Follow the fan page, Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. Just spell the whole thing out, Jimmy Lakey fan page. On the Instagram, it's just my name. Rivers Promise has an Instagram page as well. You can follow that. You can find me on the Instagram, the Twitter, the X, the Truth Social. My name, Jimmy Lakey, is out there, and you'll find it. And don't forget to go subscribe to our podcast of the show. Just type in Jimmy Lakey Unleashed. You'll see a couple of podcasts with my name. Subscribe, like to all of them. New content coming very soon on the Critical Mission podcast. Whataburger? Here I come. God bless America. Chop up those jalapenos. I want them on my cheeseburger. Until we meet again next week, again, Thursday and Friday, we're off. It's been a pleasure, my friend. I appreciate all of you. I really do. Appreciate the interaction. Thank you. And please don't be flipping people off. Moral of the story for the day. The big takeaway is, well, if you think about the image you have of these liberals that are protesting apoplectic, they're always goofy people looking for lesbian love in the back of a Subaru out back, flipping people off with purple hair. So when you're flipping people off, you look like a Democrat. Stop it. Elevate yourself. Have some pride beneath your station in life. I can't believe so many adults flip people off still. I thought that stopped, but evidently not. I'll see you Monday, off Thursday, Friday. I'll see you September 5th as well. God bless you. God bless America. Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here. No, I really am out of here.